All right, welcome back to the May update of the income portfolio. Hope everyone's doing well. It's been another wild month. A lot of things happened. Today we're gonna take a look at what change we have in the portfolio and how we compare to the S&P 500 and also the other popular indexes. Without further ado, let's head right into it. Okay, just give me a second here. Okay, so just if you never seen this before, the whole series is basically I want to show you how the income portfolio do in the drawdown period. You see a lot of people making these kind of video where they would show you the income portfolio during the accumulation phase, which means they keep putting money back in. All the incomes are being reinvested. I just want to show it from a different perspective where I use income portfolio, but actually drawing down from it to live on. And it's going to be a little bit higher, drawdown compared to like the regular 4% rule and stuff like that. So I want to show you how it goes with a significantly higher percentage of drawdown compared to other popular ETF like VFV, which is S&P 500, XEQT, which is more like a global diversified ETF, and HYLD, which is going to basically be another popular covered call ETF. So without further ado, this is the portfolio. It actually went up quite a bit compared to last month. I think last month we were at a low of about 818, at the lowest of 732. So definitely a big upswing. I think part of it is because market gained a lot of clarity, right? Because at the time we were preparing for the worst, trade war all over the place, basically like U.S. versus the whole world, basically. But now we kind of see things kind of de-escalate a little bit. China coming to the talking table. A lot of deal are being talked about. So in the end of the day, I think that it's in the best interest of everyone to come together and then come to a conclusion that in a way benefit everyone the most, or at least, there's not mutual destruction. So I believe in that. So portfolios are very geared toward, like a growth upside. I know that this is a fairly riskier strategy because there's like when you're retiring, you probably want some bonds, some stability, but then my portfolios are very heavy into tech, which is going to be very volatile. You might see a crazy upswing and crazy downswing. Might not be ideal for typical retirement portfolio. The reason I'm doing this because I'm very, I'm very okay with risk, and also my expenses are very flexible. So that kind of give me the comfort to be able to take this risk. And like I said, we only live once. If the worst case scenario is I go back to work, so it's acceptable. Acceptable. Anyways, so we made some changes in the last month. Some of it are basically to be able to capture the upswing of the market rebound. Some of it being for the tax reason. So the first change is basically a sort of a TXF, which is basically it's the equal weight kind of tech cover call ETF. So basically they pick 25 biggest tech stocks and then they basically equal weight all of them. I switched them into JEPQ and SWT. This is part of the reason is SWT is going to have a lot more upside potential because it's a little bit more concentrated on the big tech, which technically got hit the hardest. JEPQ similarly, but a little bit more diversified with a little bit the whole Nasdaq because the whole Nasdaq is technically not tech. So that's the main adjustment I have in the main portfolio. Basically, this whole main portfolio, everything is going to be reinvested for growth, like a VFV or back into SWT. Apology if I kind of sniffing a lot. I'm actually kind of battling spring allergy a little bit here. Okay, and then opportunity fund, not much changes here. I still kept the debt instrument preferred shares from last time. This one kind of act as an anchor because they're very low volatility, and then they also provide very good yield because we bought them basically at the height of the interest rate. So a lot of these are yielding like yield on cost like 12%, but has a little bit of a safety net as a debt instrument. They actually appreciate a lot since then. I suspect they have a little bit more way to go as the rates start to stabilize and come down over time. Nothing changed here. Oops, sorry, hold on here. So the rest of the holdings are the same. We did get some tax returns, so I used them to pay down the margin debt. While the rest of the portfolio, like other VFV and stuff, I just used the tax return to buy more, just to stimulate like an equal kind of footing here. And the living extent portfolio also did some changes. I sold out of QQQY, and then I tax loss harvest them, and then I move them into JEPQ, and then buy more Tesla as well. So what do you mean by tax loss harvesting? So basically, QQY is a tech cover call, right? I was in a loss because of the drop from last month. What I do is I basically sell it at a loss and then reinvest it in a similar ETF. It can't be too much of the same because or else it's going to be like a tax issue. This allows me to still capture the similar upside, though not completely the same, but also be able to get that tax loss to reduce my taxes later on in the year. Again, I'm not a tax professional, so talk to whoever you need to talk to. I also bought more Tesla. This one is going to increase a lot of volatility, but I think that Tesla has a lot of market that they're going to be capturing over the next few years. So this could be it's more like a personal bet per se. So a little bit higher risk for sure. Okay, so portfolio went up to 950 this month. Oh yeah, also because I'm sort of QQY, my income's actually dropped quite a bit, but it doesn't really matter because like my expenses are very flexible. And now that I'm back in Canada, the expenses are very controllable. So I can spend more, spend less. That's the whole point. Okay. Um, the percentage of the incomes, the dividend distribution is actually quite high right now. Personally, I like to see this number come down a bit more because I want the whole point is that I retire early. I want to make sure that the longevity of portfolio is there. So I'm not comfortable seeing like buy something that has like 30, 40%, 50% distribution rate because despite the number looks great, but I feel like longevity wise it's going to be a little shaky. Of course, like it comes down to how much risk you're willing to take, and then that these are kind of like the acceptable risks for me. Though I like to see them come down quite a bit more in the future. Anyways, let's go take a look at the VFV portfolio. This is basically the S&P 500. In the last month, we actually pulled ahead of the VFV by quite a good margin. I think partially because we were very focused on like the technology, the big tech, so we had a much stronger rebound compared to the VFV. So you can see here, I tracked down what I bought, what I withdraw, and then I try to put the date down here as well. I bought 81 shares from the tax refund, so I kind of document everything here. So like I said, VFV, pretty solid, low fund. This is kind of try to mimic the traditional portfolio, even though it's 100% stock, not 60/40 or 80/20. But yeah, just want to see how they perform in comparison. Next is XEQT. This one is like a global diversify, have US, Canada, the whole world basically. This one is still doing the best because partially because they dropped the least during the crazy trade war. This one, I used to be very skeptical of this one because it has a lot lower growth. But now I can see why it's very attractive because it also has a lot lower volatility and then very well diversified compared to other portfolio. Again, I record everything here. We bought 341 shares from the tax refund. This portfolio so far is doing the best. Now next is HYLD. This one is Hamilton, all-in-one cover call, very US based, but also kind of diversified through all the sector. And then you layer cover call on top with 25% margin. This one is currently doing the worst. It does provide the most income, but also hasn't rebound as much, partially because 25% margin enhanced the upside, but again also enhanced the downside. And I bought 914 shares from the tax refund. The share count always going to keep going up because we don't use nearly as much as all the income that this portfolio theoretically produce. Okay. All right, so let's look at everything side by side here. So this is the stats. I add this area where how much I withdraw per month. So I record this on May 12th, so the number is going to be a little bit different from what you saw earlier. I try to make sure that all the dates are fairly consistent here. As you can see, we had a crazy rebound from the bottom in April here. XEQT is still quite ahead, but okay, you can see that the main portfolios are catching up a bit. We were actually doing the best for a few months there, and then with the drop, the big tech drop a lot, so we also come down quite a lot as well. Okay, so that's basically the update for the portfolio. Life update wise, um, I re-injured my leg, so I've been kind of homebound for a bit, and then I can finally walk again, which is great. You can never take your health for granted. You're always gonna have to take care of your health. And then I think last video I mentioned that my family members are going through some kind of health issues. So again, be able to accompany them to doctor's appointments and stuff. It's a very kind of rigorous doctor appointment. Like imagine like 1 month you have to go to doctor appointment, like maybe 10 days or 7 days a month. So having all the free time really helps, able to spend time more with them, be able to hang out with them, and also be able to go to this appointment as like, as a support and stuff like that. So I'm really grateful I have this opportunity. Um, you know, yes, I don't, what else should I talk about here? I think I have something right up there I want to talk about. Also, oh yeah, I've been setting up some goal for myself. So I used to read a lot. And then I think the past year, because of traveling, I didn't get to read as much. So I kind of set a goal for myself. I want to read 12 books this year. So far I read four. The thing about setting a goal is that it's a slippery slope, because if you set a goal, sometimes you're so focused on that goal that you kind of lost the joy of reading. You just want to get that goal. So I don't want to set a goal that too outrageous. Usually I read a lot more than 12, but I just want to set at 12, and then, if I want to read more, I can read more. Also, I want to try more new restaurants. So far, I only try one. I'm not going to count the one in Thailand, just the one that I come back to Canada. There's a lot of good restaurant we want to hit up. Linda also make a YouTube video about travelings and foods and stuff. So if you're interested, check out the description. So hopefully we're going to try a new restaurant. You can make some video about it. Next, I pick up some Duolingo. I've been doing this for a while on and off. I do a lot more in Thailand, try to learn some new languages. So this year when I hit to 85 days, so far we're at about 180. I haven't updated this yet. Also, cooking new dishes. We want to try cooking a lot of different dishes that I've never done before. If you know me, I'm the type that if I like something, I'll just keep doing it over and over. I used to really like making like a bolognese pasta. So once I find a recipe that I like, I just keep making it over and over again. But hopefully it will kind of push me to, make something different, and then, explore new things. And refilling emergency fund, again, because we are in the early retirement, we want to make sure that we are secured in every way possible. Want to make sure that the longevity is there. Want to make sure that our base are covered. We did take out a lot of emergency fund to buy stocks during the dip, which turned out quite well. But you also want to make sure that that part is really replenished. So I want to get back to about 25, 30K. This one probably going to be done maybe 2026, I'm guessing. Hopefully we can be more aggressive and get it done this year. The nice thing is our expenses are very flexible, so 25K is probably, in a good range, probably able to cover a year if we really want to. Next one is rewatching Commanding Heights. So this is basically like an economic documentary. I think it's on YouTube. I watched it back in school. I find it really fascinating. I just want to rewatch it again. If you're interested in like, economics and stuff like that. Basically, okay, I'm just gonna ramble on a little bit. In the world right now, there's two camps, right? There is Keynesianism, which is basically, oh, controlling rate, controlling everything, try to make sure that economies are shaped in the way you want. And there's Austrian school, which is basically like just let it do its thing. It's gonna be efficient by its own. The video basically kind of shape a light on that, like how it comes to be and stuff like that. Very interesting. Also, last one, British eBay listing. So with my last job, I do have a lot of I used to work in retail, right? So I have a lot of like stuff from work, could it be from winning from contests, buying on discount, all these things. And I want to try to get rid of some of them. I do have too much stuff. So hopefully gonna get rid of some of those, and then padding some emergency fund. A lot of these I don't even use anymore, or I never used them before. So yeah, talking about retail though. So if you don't know, I used to work in for Prada. And then I think the last month, one of the big thing was that a lot of Chinese factory come out and say that a lot of things are made in China. So I wanna come out and I just wanna show you that, because like I was basically what I do. I was a project manager for suiting in Prada. I managed like customer reach out, managing some stuff about the custom suiting department. I was able to go to Italy to visit the factory, so I thought I'd show you some picture. Okay. So this is in Montevarchi, which is kind of like a city close to, I think, Florence. Basically the factory. So basically it's like a small town that doesn't really have anything, just very like rural town. So basically try to put a factory there, basically employ the whole town to do all the work basically. So this was the headquarter there. This was the office area, and then okay, the factories are very modern. So this is basically like a very new factory, very very big. You know, they do clothing, they do everything from repair, clothing, bags, and stuff like that. I don't want to bore you here because it's very unrelated. And then they really, very detailed in terms of shippings as well. Look, like this is basically the cost of shipping is like is crazy because they very put a lot of details into how they make sure the product delivers safely and stuff like that. This is actually a room where the brainstorm happened. So basically, how when they brainstorm new product, new clothing lines and stuff like that. A lot of like testings and stuff are going into it. A lot of technology as well. I'm gonna skip through them quickly. This room actually quite cool because they actually showed all the archive fabrics. It's because Prada been around for since like 1900, so you have a lot of these archival art pieces and stuff like that. Very cool. That's me. I think this is some video. I don't know. I don't think it's working. Okay, more factory. Yep, a lot of like fabric leather pieces. Hold on, let me see this one. Yeah, the factory is huge. Like a okay, all the process and all the equipment and stuff. Okay. Anyways, my whole point is that is some stuff made in China? Probably, right? So usually how the high-end store works is that they have their main store. A lot of things could be made from Europe, Romania, Italy, whatever. And then they're gonna have an outlet store. And a lot of products are actually made directly for the outlet. And they're never gonna see the main store ever. They're just made just for outlet. Those stuff tend to be made from China or like wherever, Vietnam and stuff like that. So one thing that it kind of like make me confused is that imagine all this trade war happened, right? Then one day, within the span of a couple of days, all the video of like, oh, just order from China, everything's a fake, come out at the same time. Don't you think it seems a little bit too coordinated? I mean, I think so, right? But anyways, so I'm sure some of the stuff's are made in China, but I'm just saying that, like a lot of things are actually made in Italy and stuff like that. I'm sure the same goes for other brands as well. And the thing is, if everything made in China, like sometime I work in a store and then, I see these products every day. Some of the fakes are pretty bad. I'm not saying, like the concept of is worth the price or not is very subjective, but some of the fakes are very, very obvious that it's fakes. If the fakes are if the China's basically made everything, then the fake should be much, much higher quality, I feel. Oh yeah, one thing is about this factory is that they actually employ and pay people a livable wage, right? They're not gonna pay them like $2 an hour and stuff like that. And then a lot of things go into account is that they might make sure that low carbon footprint, everything's a recycle, all these things. And then those things are all adding to the cost. And then you might not care, but in case you do. Anyways, I'm enough rambling on. Okay, I'm gonna close out here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in June, I guess. All right, see ya.